Hi, in this video we are going to be looking at events in JavaScript. So basically JavaScript can run code when events occur. So for example, on a web page, an event may be the user clicking on a button or mousing over an image, hovering their mouse cursor over an image. Other events include when an element on a web page changes, or when the user's mouse moves away from a section of the web page, when the user presses a key on the keyboard, or when the web page itself has finished loading. So there's a number of different events that we can work with on a web page, like mouse clicks or button presses on the keyboard, and we can write JavaScript code that will run when those events occur. We can have event handlers. So we're just going to look at a couple of examples of events in this video and some code that we can run when those events occur, and we'll be looking at events much more in future tutorials when we start adding decision making to our programs and when we start writing functions, so collections of code, instructions that can run when events occur. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the button tag in HTML, and you can see I don't actually have any JavaScript files, any JavaScript code open at the moment. I'm just going to be working in the HTML document. And I'm going to use the button tag to add a button, and it's going to say click me. And I'll add another button as well, and this one will just say hover over me. Okay, so using the button tags, we have two buttons here, click me and another button that says hover over me. Now what I'm going to do is attach two events to these buttons. On the click me button, I'm going to add an event, an on click event. So I'll just display a little alert message on the page when the user clicks on the button, and I'll add a on mouse over event for the second button. So when the user mouses or hovers their mouse over that button. So to add an event to this button, and we can add events to any elements on a web page. It doesn't have to be a button. It could be an image. So we could use the image tag to add an image and then attach an event to that. It could be some text, like a paragraph or a heading or a link. So what we do is in the element tag, we add a space, and then we can add on click, which is one type of event, equals, and then in quotation marks, this is where we specify code that we want to run when this event, the on-click event occurs, so when the user is clicking on this button. Now, we could have some separate JavaScript code somewhere else. We could call a particular function which would run a heap of code, but in this example, we'll just look at running one statement or one instruction of code, and that is to display an alert message. So we can use the alert function in JavaScript, and then in brackets, add a semicolon to end that statement. We can use the alert function to alert or display a message to the user. And in the brackets, we need to specify a string, so some text that will display in the alert message. And because we've already used double quotation marks to contain all of this code for the on-click event, we'll need to use single quotation marks, or we would need to escape the double quotation marks somehow. So we'll just use single quotation marks, and I'm just going to display a little message saying you clicked me. Okay, so save the code, go back, click on the button, and we see an event here has occurred. We've clicked on the button, and we see an alert message here that says you clicked me. Okay. For the other button, we can add another type of event, and for this one, we'll use on mouse over. All one word, on mouse over equals, and then the code that we want to run when the user's mouse hovers over this button. So we'll do an alert again, and this time I'll just say you hovered. All right, so these are two examples of events that we can use in JavaScript to run code. So refresh, again, if we click the button, it displays that message. But this time, if we just hover over this button, it displays another message. We can also try another event, which is on mouse out. rather than on mouse over. So on mouse out, this will run code when the user's mouse has stopped hovering over the element that it's attached to. So if I go back and refresh the page, oops, refresh, I can hover over this button and nothing happens, but as soon as my mouse cursor leaves it, the on mouse out event is triggered and displays that code. Alright, so a few examples of different events. So we've got events like on click, on mouse over, on mouse out. There are other ones like on change, so when an element on the page is changed, or on key down, when we can check when a particular key is being pressed on the keyboard. We can also use on load events as well. So I'll just change that one back. What I might do is display a little welcome alert when the web page is finished loading. So in the body tag, I can actually add on load as an event if I wanted. And I'll display an alert. And I'll just say something like hello there. Alright, now if I refresh the page, straight away I see that message hello there. So when the page loads, it displays that alert message. Now, these alerts are very irritating for the user, so I would certainly not recommend using the alert function on your web pages. They're a little bit annoying for the user, but we're just using them in this example here to see how these events work. But we could call some other code instead, some other JavaScript code. We could load a function that we'd written, and we're going to look at functions in the next tutorial so that we can start using them. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.